So Tomlin, he says, they got a veteran quarterback in Kirk Cousins. My question to you, Dorin, if you had to pick Kirk Cousins or Russell Wilson, and you're paying both $1.2 million, that's the decision. Because we know Kirk Cousins' money kept him from even being an afterthought for the Steelers this year. If you could have either one, Russell Wilson or Kirk Cousins at $1.2 million, who you taking?
Oh man, that's tough. That's tough. Only reason why I would take Russell Wilson is because Kirk Cousins is coming off an injury at 35 years old, at the same age. But, man, that is a tough one. That is tough. I would take Russell Wilson probably, just for his escapability that he has just left in the tank. Just in case I do need him to get 5 yards, 6 yards on a scramble. I think he could do that better than Kirk Cousins.
I agree. And I don't think it's a Steelers homery take to say I'll take the guy who's won a Super Bowl.
That too.
And the guy who knows how to do it in big moments. I bring this up every time I talk about Kirk Cousins. Watching him on that quarterback show made me feel two ways about him. One, I think he's a great guy. He came off as a really nice man. His teammates seem to like him. He seems down to earth. Money hasn't changed him. He just wants to play football. He just wants to win. But the other thing that made me think about is I can see why he folds in big moments. Because he overthinks everything in his life, and you would imagine that translates to football. And so I could see on any given Sunday, you run out there, he's a really good player. Mm-hmm. He's going to accrue stats. In fact, last year before he got hurt, he was second in passing yards in the league, first in touchdowns, I think first in yards per attempt. I mean, he was having a great season before he got hurt. I think Kirk's a good quarterback. But when it's 8:20 p.m. on a Monday and everybody's watching, historically, that's where he falls apart. And I just think it's tough to put a finger on it. Russ Wilson, to me, balls out in those situations. Last year, they beat Buffalo on the road. They beat Kansas City. They went 4 straight games, 4 out of 5, where they beat playoff teams.
Yep.
Where they were underdogs in those games. And he wasn't outstanding, but he also protected the football. I think crunch time, I'll take Russ Wilson over Kirk Cousins any day. So I would go with Russ. But I'm interested on how other people feel on that at 412-928-9370. I think Kirk's a good player.
I do too. I just do wonder why they drafted a quarterback. Now, you could say that that's the future, Michael Penix Jr., but I mean, draft him at that position, at that high, whenever you needed to surround your team with other weapons, could have surrounded Kirk Cousins with other weapons. What are they thinking about Kirk Cousins? I know they paid him a lot of money, but you draft, what was it, Michael Penix, 6th pick, like 6th or 8th, something? Yeah, 8th? Top 10?
And I've done my Atlanta scout, Dorin. I'm sure you're very intrigued by this.
Yes.
Corner, I think good. A.J. Terrell, really good player. Safety tandem, Jesse Bates and the guy that they just brought in. 2 all-pro caliber safeties on the back end who can take the ball away. Yeah, with Simmons. I think that with Judon, they can get after the passer. I don't think they can stop the run at all. I think their front seven stinks. And so if I were them, I don't mind what they did. I think they've set themselves up with a good quarterback situation. You've got the guy and the guy who can learn behind the guy, and I think you can have faith in both. But I probably would have drafted a defensive player because signing Kirk for that kind of money, getting Simmons, getting Judon, that all screams, let's win some ball games now. Mm-hmm. And then you take Penix 8th overall. It does not help you this year unless the worst happens. And in that case, you would have probably been in a position to draft a guy next year. Long-winded as that was. Mm-hmm. I'm typing up a Twitter poll. If you had your choice of Russell Wilson or Kirk Cousins for $1.2 million, who would you choose? Kirk Cousins, Russell Wilson? That is the Twitter poll. You can vote at _Adam Crowley, and we'd love to hear from you at 412-928-9370. You're also right. You cannot diminish that injury.
No.
Like, I don't know. If he were available for $1.2 million, I would have rolled the dice on him. I would be less optimistic about him right now than I am about Russell Wilson because you just don't know. What was it, Achilles?
Yes.
Yeah, that's no good. He was great before he got hurt, but he's no spring chicken. Him and Russ about the same age. You can't. Here's the thing about
That's a very tough question too, though.
Thank you. Game 1, 2. I do think, even though Russ didn't have a lot of time in training camp, he played in 2 preseason games. Kirk ain't done jack. He ain't been hit since he got hurt. And I think that matters.
Yeah, Russ moves a lot better.
Yeah. And he doesn't
Even-
move the way he used to, but he still moves better.
Moves better even whenever Kirk Cousins didn't have the Achilles injury. I don't know he's going to move for like now. I'm sure that it's going to be similar to what he was before, but still, that does slow you down just a tad, a tick. If you nowadays, I know that the medicine's better, but Russ just moves a little bit better than than Kirk Cousins. That's why I would take Russ.
Yeah.